Just like to offer a big shout out to Touchdown Digital for sponsoring this week's video. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all fighting fit and well. Look, today here in the mountains we've got a typical Blue Mountains day where we have mist and fog and rain and sleet and wind and you name it, it's happening. I did go out this morning to to see if I could capture a few shots, but the weather was just atrocious really. But it looks like it's clearing up, so in the next few days I should be able to get back out. I need to do that new tripod review and a few other things. But I thought in this video today I'd bring to you what I call my 8 tips on successful landscape planning. Now, I plan a lot, especially, well, my entire life is planned, and it can be a bit of a pain for family members and loved ones because they know how pedantic I am on a lot of things. So when it comes to my personal photography, especially landscape and seascape photography, I plan exclusively. I work 3 months in advance and I plan for 4 quarters. We're currently in the first quarter, January, February, March, and I'll talk to you about that in a moment. But these 8 tips I've been using for some time, excuse me, and they seem to work for me, and I know they work for a lot of other people. So we'll get started, and the first one is weather. Now, weather is just so important for our landscape and seascape photography. I mean, we want clouds, we need wind, we need fog or haze. Now, how do you find that? How do you plan for that? Well, I use an app called AccuWeather. It's accuweather.com, or you got the app on the phone called AccuWeather. It is absolutely brilliant. I suggest that to everyone I meet regarding or who are involved in photography, especially landscape and seascape photography. That's AccuWeather. I'll put a link to that in the description box below this video. And I use that quite a lot. It gives you all the information you need, especially cloud cover. Now, I will not go out and shoot a landscape or seascape if the cloud cover is less than 30%. I just won't go. I don't want pale blue skies or just no clouds in the sky. It just doesn't equate to what I believe is a good image. So using AccuWeather app, it tells me the cloud cover, the rain amount, and it's an hourly update. It's fantastic. It's a free app. You have it on your phone, iPad, whatever the case may be. It's really, really good. It's AccuWeather, and that tells me everything. Now, we all love fog in our images, and here in the mountains we have fog settling down through the gullies. But how do we plan for a foggy photo shoot? Well, basically, what you need the temperature to be lower than the dew point. Now, you will get that on this app, and if you have, if it's 20 degrees and that is lower than the dew point is higher, that means you're going to have a foggy morning or a foggy late afternoon. And once you understand that and know that and how to implement that into your landscape photography planning, your shots will be elevated. So look for the clouds, get on that weather app. There are other apps out there, but I just recommend AccuWeather. It's a free app. You get it on your phone. It's really, really good, and it tells you everything that you need. Now, second one is research the location. Now, what I mean by researching the location is when you go out to take photos or a photo shoot, take a piece of paper or a notepad with you and make notes on the area, because some areas photograph differently through different times of the day, different times of the month, or even different times of the year, because it's all weather dependent. So take notes while you're there. You might arrive at a location, it's not too bad, you've captured a few images, but you know that they could be better. Well, take some notes on the current weather that you were experiencing on that day or morning or afternoon, and then look at the planning, look at that AccuWeather app, and work out maybe this could be better next weekend or next week or next month. So when you're on location, do your research there. It's so much easier to do your planning and research whilst you're on location, especially when it comes to certain areas. So research on the location, at the location if you can. Number 3, we've got research online. That's right. You can use Google, 500 Pics, Instagram, Flickr, that's still available to you. There's lots of information out there. Plenty of people have got blogs on the internet regarding certain locations. That way you can form your own opinion as to whether it's worth it. But keeping in mind, a lot of the images you see on the internet, especially Instagram and things like that, they've been prettied up to the maximum. They've been tweaked and turned and to the absolute maximum. So only for you to arrive at that location and you're not seeing there what you're seeing on your phone or on your computer, because those images you're looking at have basically been tweaked. It's very rare do you see someone take a photo with a phone and put it straight into Instagram. Very rarely these days. I'm not saying Instagram's no good, but use things like Instagram as a location point, not necessarily about the image that you're looking at. Don't be fooled by that. So research online, Google search. Google Maps is good. Google Maps is outstanding. Actually, I use that quite a lot. Even though I know this area, I still are looking for areas that no one else goes to, and that's coming up a bit later on in the 8 tips here. Number 4, pick the right time of day or year. Now, some locations photograph better at certain times of the year, and it all depends once again on weather. You can see a theme here. It's all about weather. So picking the right time of day or the year is very important. If you've only got 1 day a week out of 7 days to go and take photographs, it would be really silly of you not to plan for that particular day. Now, I know there's restraints for everybody. We've got work, we've got family, we've got kids, we've got everything going on. But if you've only got 1 day out of 7, why not plan heavily for that one particular day? And let's face it, if you're going to go out on a Saturday or Sunday, who's to say next weekend's going to be atrocious? If you haven't planned that, well, and you go out, well, then you've wasted a weekend, you've wasted a day where you could have spent it with your loved ones or your family. So make sure you plan in advance, and I'll touch base on that in a little bit longer. So that's number 4, pick the right time of day and year. Number 5, look for specific conditions. Now, as I said, a lot of places photograph differently under certain light, under certain cloud or tide, if you're seascape photography or you're into seascape photography. The tide, wind, the sea, obviously the light, clouds, they all play a part. So look for specific conditions each time you go out, and once again have a bit of paper or a notepad and make notes on that location that you're at. Because I can guarantee you, if you go to the same location 3 times, you'll take 3 different images because there's 3 different types of weather conditions happening at that location. It changes per the minute. So obviously look for specific conditions that you're happy with and put that into your planning for the next time you go out in or near that location. Because there's been plenty of times where very early on in my photography career that I didn't do any planning. I just went out, bang, crash, wallop, and got to a location thinking this was fantastic, only to show the images to friends of mine. They say, "Oh, did you go there?" "Oh, no, I didn't go there," because I didn't know it was there because I didn't do any planning. So this is all about saving time and making sure that you've planned enough to come away with some good shots. So look for specific conditions each time you're out. Make notes, make it on your phone, have a notepad and pen. I'm old school, write it on a book, in a notepad, and that way you've got it for future reference when you plan your photography shoots. Number 6 is a really good one. Try and research the less well-known areas. Now, 2 things here. I always advise people to go back and shoot the same location over and over again if you're not happy with the conditions that you had on at the time that you were there. There's nothing wrong with photographing the same place all the time, because once again, I can guarantee you, your images will be different each time you go there. And that's one way of improving as a landscape photographer. And that's also what separates the so-called good landscape photographers to the excellent landscape photographers, is because they go back all the time until they get that shot that they love with the light available. It's called persistence and determination. That's how you become from being a fairly good landscape photographer up to really, really good landscape photographer, because you persist and you keep trying and you keep going back and keep going back and keep going back. Now, I know it's hard for a lot of people. If you have to drive 2 hours to a location, you just can't keep on going back every day or every weekend. I get it, I've got it, I understand that. But if you're really dedicated enough, you will put the time in to do it, and you'll work it in with your other life, your life situation. But keep going back, persist by going back all the time and trying to capture that shot that you've always dreamed of. So always research well-known locations. Now, that is because there's a lot of locations that have been flogged to death, quite frankly. Some are very, very good, some are very ordinary. But try and find locations that a lot of people don't know about. And there's ways you can do that. One is to just leave the cameras at home, take your phone with you, get in the car and drive to certain locations that you've never seen before or you've never seen on the internet. And then take photos with your phone for future reference, because I think one of the problems with our photography these days, everything's being flogged to death because everyone's got a camera, everyone's got a phone, So the idea is to find locations that no other person has been to. And I know for a fact here in the Blue Mountains, there's lots of locations that a lot of people don't even know exist, and there's people lived here all their lives. And the only reason why I know I know about these locations is because I've gone out and really tried really hard to find them, and it has paid off because with my workshops, that's where I take the people, take them to locations that no one else goes to. So when they go and see their friends back home, they say, oh, we went to this location in the mountains. Oh, I don't know about that location. Oh yeah, well this guy found it. So try and research less well-known locations, and that way you'll come away with images that no one else has seen, quite frankly. So look at that, research less well-known locations. Number 7, plan enough time. Now, with sunrise, especially sunrise photography, and I spoke about this in a video about 48 hours ago, sunrise photography is just not about sunrise, okay? Some of the best photos that you can ever take, or I've ever taken, regarding sunrise photography is about 40 minutes before the actual sunrise, because low clouds perform less better than the higher cloud. The higher cloud will look much better because it's closer to the actual sky itself. It's a bit hard to explain. Where the lower cloud, the light has to come up through that first. So this is all about, once again, studying the weather. So plan enough time. Make sure that you have everything ready the night before. Batteries are charged. The SD card is cleared in your camera. Take a spare battery and a spare SD card. Appropriate clothing, but I'll get back to that in a moment. Make sure everything's ready. Get it ready the night before, because the last thing you want to be doing is at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning is crashing through the house, waking everybody up because you can't find your bloody tripod, or your bag's missing over there, or the cat's chewed the bloody charger cord off your battery charger. You don't want any of that happening. You've got to be in a right mindset. So if you've got everything ready the night before, you can just grab it, get dressed, get in the car and go, and then arrive at your location with plenty of time to set up. Far too many times I see people turn up with 5 minutes to go and they're still fluffing around with their bloody tripod and getting their camera out and everything. And by that time, the show's over and they've missed some really, really good shots. So if you're planning to do a sunrise shoot, make sure you plan it and get there with plenty of time, and be very organised. You have to be organised to make this type of photography work. So plan with enough time, okay? And usually it starts the night before. Well, in actual fact, if you're planning a photography shoot, it starts well before the night before. It starts 3 days before, because you're looking at the weather. You're looking at the weather maps, you're looking at AccuWeather, the weather on the TV, which, you know, isn't all that best, but, excuse me, but plan well in advance and give yourself enough time to get on location and set up and wait for that magic to happen. Now, number 8, this is the last one. Take the right equipment and clothing. There's nothing worse than getting to a location and you forgot your jacket, or it starts raining, or it's cold, or you're overdressed and it's too bloody hot, you know, and you don't enjoy yourself, you don't enjoy your photography if your clothing isn't right. Wear appropriate hiking boots. If you're going to hike into the bush or through a rainforest, you either wear the waterproof gumboots like I do, or a good pair of waterproof hiking boots. Go the mid-cut, not the low-cut, keeps the leeches out. Proper clothing will make your day or morning or afternoon shoot so much more pleasurable, and you'd want to stay longer because you're comfortable within yourself with your clothing. Take food, take water, have that organised the night before. Take the right equipment. Now, if you haven't planned for the location, what lens do you know what to take? What equipment do you know what to take? Do you need a telephoto lens? Do you need a wide angle? Or do you need a mid-range zoom, like a 24-70 or 24-105? Do you need a 14mm ultra-wide angle lens? Who knows? But if you do enough research and planning, you will be able to know what equipment to take. Do you need 2 camera bodies because you're going a long, long way away from the car? So planning that part of it is very, very important. You look at the weather, you look at the location, and you combine those two together, and that will tell you what gear you need, okay? Remember I said earlier on, when you're out at a location, take notes, because you might get to a location, you think, oh God, I need to be 70 to 200. I'm not going to reach that mountaintop or something like that. So at least if you go back there, you know what equipment you need. This is all about saving time and be very efficient with your workflow. Planning is a huge part of landscape and seascape photography. Now, to finish up, what I do is every time I go out, I take a business card with me. And why do I take business cards with me on a personal photo shoot? Well, you wouldn't believe that how many people come up to me and say, how are you going? Oh, I'm going well, thanks. You got some nice shots? Yeah, they're going, yeah, I've got a few nice good images here. Then they say to me, where can I see them? Now that automatically, when I hear that comment, I automatically know that these people are interested in what I'm doing. And it could be the same for you. So I always hand them my business card, and on that is all my contact details for all the social media, the website, my phone number, my email address. And I give them that card and I say, there you can see my images and my work via all those contact points. And you wouldn't believe how many sales I've made from that particular day. People coming up to me and just talking to me, and by me handing them a business card. Get some business cards printed. Go to Vista Print, I think you get 500 for about 20 bucks, they're as cheap as chips. Get that, hand them a business card. Whether you've got a website or not, doesn't matter. If you've got social media, Facebook, Instagram, give them a business card, and who knows, you just might make a few sales. I remember one year, I printed out in excess of 60, maybe 63, 64 prints to people I just randomly met on location, just by handing them a business card. And I've been doing that now for about 15 years actually. So hand them a business card with all your information. Because the problem is, if you say, you can see me on Instagram, that's my name, Facebook, that's my name, YouTube, they'll forget. But if you give them something in writing, like a business card, they won't forget. And 9 times out of 10, they could contact you wanting, Glenn or Frank or Bob or John, I seen you the other day, I seen that photo you took and I'm looking at it, can I have a print of that please? How much do you charge? You'll be surprised, actually, you'll be really surprised. So keep that in mind. Now, one more thing before I go. With the planning, I plan for each quarter or each term of the year. So there's 4 quarters a year, okay? So for the next 3 months, January, February, March, I'm concentrating on sunrise and sunset shoots. Now I've got this on the computer, I've got it on my phone, but I've also got a printed copy. And the reason why I've got a printed copy, I actually take a few of these with me when I'm out shooting, because I have a lot of tourists come into my area or day trippers from Sydney, and they ask me where's the best places to see sunrise and sunset. They're not actually photographers, they just like to sit with their loved ones and, you know, experience that. So I give them this piece of paper, probably can't see it there, but on this side it's got all the sunrise shooting locations. On this side it's got all the sunset shooting locations, and that is for the next 3 months. So there's 36 locations. Up here we have more sunset locations than we do sunrise because of the position of where the mountains is. It's more facing west than it is east. So that is for the next 3 months. That's the next 3 months of workflow for me. So I do that every quarter. Now I will do the next quarter, which is April, May, June. I'll start doing that next month. So that is another part of planning. Planning as much as you can in advance. Now, if you can only get away 1 day a week, just plan for that 1 day a week, okay? And then plan it, you could possibly plan it that way. That way you can tell family and friends and loved ones, look, I've got that, I'm going there, and they know in advance what's going on. So in a nutshell, this is all about planning properly to become more efficient, to make your workflow and your photography more enjoyable. At the end of the day, photography is about enjoying ourselves, getting out in the open and just looking at what nature has provided us to work with. So that's it. 8 tips about planning for landscape and seascape photography. Try them if you wish. If you've got any comments, please put them down below and I'll certainly get back to you. If you're new to this channel, please hit the subscribe button, the bell next door so you don't miss anything. I really appreciate the people that support this channel. I think this channel now has, I think over 3,500 subscribers or something like that. I don't really take notice of subscribers. It's just that I like giving this information out and the fantastic and beautiful people I've met through YouTube. So that's it for another episode of Sniper Photography. As I always say, keep smiling, keep shooting, and bye for now.